Hello, this is Karen Machiavelli here. Just a quick little update on what is likely going to be the next pandemic, and it's news spreading around Germany and the EU that the hantavirus is breaking out. And so, in regards to the hantavirus, currently there are scientists at the CDC and the WHO saying that this virus still has no pandemic potential. But of course, if we follow the paper trails back to like 2020, 2019, and so on, there have been scientists saying that the coronavirus has had no potential of being an outbreak, and we could see what happened. In addition to that, the hantavirus is another kind of like virus. Once it broke out, it struck a crisis among health officials directly investigating it, whether this could be a potential outbreak. So there's a likelihood that this will be the next outbreak because at the end of the day, this virus, along with the coronavirus, has no natural cause, but people like Bill Gates finance certain laboratories where these viruses get developed. And so, well, Bill Gates is reportedly doing that for philanthropic reasons and for a good cause. I mean, this guy, this old bastard, he went to Epstein's Island and fucked children, so who are you to believe him? Like, seriously, how stupid could you be to believe him that he's really doing this for a good cause? And so, Bill Gates, according to some reports, has already spoke in 2022 or 2021 about the hantavirus possibly becoming the next pandemic, the next big pandemic. And this is much more dangerous than with COVID, because with COVID there were two parts of society. The one who believed this was a real outbreak of a bat in China, and the ones that believed this was all just a manufactured psychological operation and there was no truth behind it. And so both sides of this were wrong. This was actually a virus developed in a laboratory, which was let out to all the world basically. And it got re-engineered and re-engineered to basically send alarm signals, because while the cases of people getting severely ill by COVID have been quite rare, and there were also a lot of cases of people who had become damaged by the vaccinations, there were also people, I have seen them personally on Instagram, who reported they have never vaccinated themselves, but they caught COVID and they got long-lasting damage from it. So COVID in itself was actually dangerous, and I've heard of people who I work with at a hospital saying that back then, back when COVID was still a thing, the hospital was pretty much highly loaded with people who had severe issues with COVID. And what I see in this whole COVID situation is that COVID was basically a test run for biological warfare. And so, testing whether the infrastructure can keep stable, testing whether certain regulatory measures, how effective they are, how quickly they will take in place, etc., etc., to prepare for a real outbreak. Basically a dangerous outbreak. And so what happened in 2022 or 2021 is that also vaccine companies basically prepared their test runs to basically test how quickly they can manufacture vaccines against this disease. Now, while I haven't been personally vaccinated, I did keep a quite strong measure of sometimes, if I felt like the risk was too high, keeping my mask on, and also taking care of my immune system. So trying to eat healthy and trying to get some kind of exercise in and trying to keep outdoors for as much as I could, staying in nature, etc. While this kind of pandemic and lockdown will take an issue on your mental health if you're not mentally prepared for being in isolation, etc. Basically, having survived COVID, mentally survived, while all these lockdowns were happening and while all the discrimination against unvaccinated people were happening, is a good, you already have a good preparation for a next pandemic mentally. And so these are the preparations you should take in case. So the first one is mental preparation and physical preparation. So prepare mentally what will happen if a lockdown and total isolation becomes a reality again. And physical preparation, like get your immune system checked, like prepare your immune system, start eating healthier, start getting in more exercise, etc. Start spending more time in nature, start reducing stress. And overall plan good strategies for your life. So how will you get along with reducing the risk of infection, and how will you maneuver in life, how will you prepare, what will you buy, etc. And so the key thing here is that you do not necessarily have to take the vaccine. So I'm not recommending you to not take the vaccine. However, I am also not recommending you to take the vaccine. So it's at the end of the day, it's your choice what you're going to make. I won't do it. I'll rather trust my mind and my immune system to keep me in check and keep me healthy. But if you feel like the vaccine is a necessity, well, it's your decision. You can do it if you want. I personally won't do it. Now, the second preparation is the financial preparation. And this is more of an opportunity than anything else. So basically, you can roam around like someone fucked up, like someone really pissed off at the world, and yap about how this is all a conspiracy, etc., which is true. But you can also yap about how this is a conspiracy theory or a conspiracy and profit about it. So basically, follow the financial measures. Who profits from such a kind of pandemic? Obviously, in some way or another, Bill Gates, because this pandemic is a perfect opportunity to implement surveillance measures, like, for example, surveillance tracking of AI facial recognition in public spaces to surveil or to collect information about who infected who, etc., who is sick, etc. But also, pharmaceutical companies, for example, they will profit of it, those ones that will create the vaccines against it. And so, you can, of course, speak out about it, about how this is unfair, etc., which is valid. But in my opinion, the smartest way would be to let money flow into it, actually, and to profit off of it, because while the money you may have saved up, maybe it's like 10 grand, 20 grand, etc., this is a tiny amount, like worthless amount compared to the billions that go into this and multi-billions that come out of this. So if you make your 20 grand, like let's say, I don't know, 200 grand or something in a span of 2 years because you were smart, you were a conspiracy theorist, and you were really smart, and meaning that you were a conspiracy theorist and you knew how to make profit out of conspiracies in order to save your own ass, then this will be a big opportunity for you to stack some racks, basically. So these two things you should prepare for, like the mental, these three factors, the mental aspect, the physical aspect, and the financial aspect. Thank you for watching.